Start it. We're good.
All right. Welcome back. Mississippi Wrestling fans, to the newest episode of the Super Wrestling Podcast and the first live stream that we've done. So if you're tuning in, thank you so much. This is fantastic. Setting new boundaries for the Sip Wrestling guys. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Yep, super stoked. We are playing with this as we go, so it'll be a pretty good time to figure all this out. So bear with us if it gets a little weird.
Yeah. This one's gonna be. We are ill prepared, so you're literally gonna get just two buddies talking about wrestling for however long we feel like we want to talk about wrestling. So stay tuned, buckle up. It's gonna be fun. Like I said, if you're tuning in, thank you. We appreciate it. This is something new for me and Andy, for both of us. It's a lot easier when there's not a camera in your face and you're just kind of talking. So let's see how it goes. We're open to all criticism and all comments. I don't know if Andy can see a chat. I can't, but
I can. I got full access on the chat. Cody Gilbert's in the chat. I've got it up on my phone, so I'm seeing that. Hey, happy to have you here, Cody. And we also get to see Tyler. So I have the chat pulled up, so I'll be able to read the messages as we go. We'll periodically get into those unless something spicy gets it going on in that, and then I'll dive right into that. That's fun.
Yeah. Shout out to Cody Gilbert for the hat, the Wrestling Foundation hat. I really appreciate it. I rock it all the time. So I appreciate that, Cody. But all right, look, let's dive into some wrestling, all right? The season has started. We've had some in-state competition. We've had a fair amount of in-state competition. I haven't seen a whole lot out of the South. I mean, I've seen some teams and some results, but I haven't seen a lot of videos. I know y'all went down to, where'd y'all go? Over in Gulf Shores?
Oh, yeah, we went to Gulf Shores. Picayune was there. St. Martin was there. It was a pretty good showing, pretty good tournament. And it was a lot of fun. That was always a good one to start off the season with.
Yeah.
It's rough on the voice box, you know, I'm a loud guy in the corner, and by day two for early in the season, I'm toast.
Yeah. It looked like a good tournament from what I saw, the teams that were there and some of the kids I know out of Alabama that were there, just recognizing names. It looked like a pretty good one. Did y'all have any success? I know y'all had a couple people wrestling in the semifinals. I don't think y'all had anybody break through to the finals, though, did you?
No, we did. So we had two girls wrestled in the finals. Both of them got beat. Destiny Tomley lost in the finals to Asia Green from St. Martin. So they had a tournament champion, and then Hannah Lindsay lost to an absolute unit of this girl from Georgia.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple boys make this, or we had one boy make this, two boys made the semis, and we had some weight issues on day two. We're still kind of working those through, and still just trying to adjust our lineups. And then we were able to scrape together a duel last night, where we wrestled St. Martin and St. Pat's in Van Cleve. St. Martin came in clutch with a last-minute plug. It was supposed to be Picayune. Picayune got told really late notice that they weren't going to be able to get a bus. And then St. Martin's, Chris Hodges and St. Martin's came in clutch and filled that spot. So we were able to get a good duel. And it was good. It was a good night of wrestling.
Yeah, well, you got an up close and personal look at two teams that we've both labeled as potential dark horses for this year out of the South, in St. Pat's and in St. Martin. So how did they look?
Man, well, so I gave some praise, and now I'm going to have to reel it back a little bit. St. Pat's looked good, right? I liked what Joe DeFlippo's got going on over there. Those guys have come along. They put a lot of work in, and you can see it when they're wrestling. They have a couple hammers that are pretty stout kids that are putting in some good work. St. Martin looked a little rough. It's not a knock. You look at this St. Martin lineup; it is almost a completely different lineup than they've had in the past. I think they graduated a lot, and this lineup is really young. They wrestle like they're really young. And so there's a lot of room for development, but I think this is a pretty hard rebuild year for St. Martin. I know that in the past, for me, or in the past, we've talked about how St. Martin's is kind of a flex team for dual state. At this point, I'm not 100% sure that St. Martin is there, but they have a lot of really young guys that can develop really nicely, and there's a lot of raw talent that's there that just needs to get tweaked. And I mean, they're going to be a competitive team.
All right. Well, the one thing we do know about St. Martin is they always seem to have a lot of wrestlers. They're kind of a lot like Ocean Springs, right? They have a lot of wrestlers who have the ability to put up a lot of points really quick. They are always looking for that feet to back and that big move and a turn and a cradle. So, I mean, it's a long season, right? It's a short season, but it's a long season. So I hope they do progress and get better. I haven't seen St. Pat's, but I can just imagine when I do finally see them, it's going to look a lot like they've always looked, just more fine-tuned because the majority of their lineup is back, and they're just another year older. So I think they should be pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot going on in the South, but one thing I would like to talk about is the cat's out of the bag now, right? Like, we know where Quinn's going.
I mean, the cat's out of the bag. But you know what? He didn't wrestle. The mystery is still there. So he went 120 for the Gulf Coast Clash, and then did not wrestle in the duel. And I'm not going to expose that one, but.
Well, if he goes 120, which as a wrestling fan, you can keep saying mystery, but I'm talking wrestling right now. So take the coach hat off and put the podcast host hat on for just a second.
It's always on.
If he stays at 120, 120 is going to be a barn burner of a weight class. It's going to be so much fun to watch him. I think Eric Swift from DC is at 120. Jaden Gibson's back with Oxford. He's at 120. And from the live stream, from the Mississippi, what are they calling themselves? Mississippi Wrestling
Network?
Tim. Yeah, Mississippi Wrestling Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching their live stream last night, like, dude.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah. But Gibson doesn't look like he missed a beat, man. I mean, no offense to my boy Spence. He did take on my boy Spence. And, Spence is one of those kids who has an immense amount of heart. Well, this is the match I watched, right? I watched him take on Spence from Lewisburg. And Spence has an immense amount of heart, and that heart wins him a lot of matches that he shouldn't win and keeps him in a lot of matches that he shouldn't be in. And he has gotten significantly better since the day he walked in the club. But I'd like to see what Gibson looks like when he takes on Swift. You know what I mean? But, yeah. So I hope he goes 120, man.
It's definitely an exciting weight, man. We have like a good problem to have where we have a lot of kids that can kind of shuffle around, but 120 is definitely going to be, like, regardless of who goes there at the end of the year, is going to be competitive. Whether that ends up being, Chase Osbaugh drops down to 20. Or Quinn's at 20, or Caden Osbaugh bumps up to 20. I mean, either way, it's going to be a competitive match. And then the North is looking nice. I mean, Marissa Goodwin Shepherd said that Eric is at 120. And then Jaden Gibson's going to be there. I mean, that's honestly way too early prediction. 120 is going to be the best weight in the state in the state tournament.
I was just about to ask you, what weight are you looking at as not just the best weight, but what do you think maybe is the toughest weight? So I have this theory in wrestling, and I think, I don't know if you mirror it or not, but I'd like to see. But I think 120 across the board in every state is a tough weight class because it's the smallest weight you got in college, right? So those smaller kids that are just super good all tend to find themselves at 120. So 120 is a tough weight class everywhere. In Mississippi, I don't know if it's been the greatest, or maybe it has been the greatest, and your boys just ran through everybody. Shanks has just ran through everybody. I don't know, but this year it looks to be really good. But other than 120, what weight class are we looking at this year?
Yeah, I think this is the best 120 weight class that we've seen in a long time. I think 130, 138, 132 could be pretty tough. We got Brady Carroll's there. I'm drawing blanks on names, man. The pressure's on.
What happens when we
the pressure's on. I can't edit. My mistakes out.
I know.
Logan Bradley. Logan Bradley's at 32. I mean, that's a good match. When they're both on, and they're both funky guys, and that could be a really exciting match. And I mean, to be fair, you're going to get a preview of that before I will. At the beginning of January, so it'll be good.
Yeah,
I think 132 is going to be pretty tough.
I've always said that the middleweights across the United States are the toughest. Anywhere from like 140, and I'm not using weight classes. I'm just using a weight range. So anywhere from like 140 to 170, like those guys are always just studs in every state you go to. And in Mississippi, I think it's probably been the same year in and year out. It feels like 145, 150, 160 weight range has just been just nasty for talent. So it's nice to see the smaller guys having more evenly matched talent finally.
Another kid that I forgot that's going to be at 32, Bryce DeFlippo. So I mean, 132 could be as interesting as 120. I mean, those are a lot of hungry guys. I think there's a lot of heavy hitters within those weights. And echoing what you said, those middleweights are generally pretty tough. That's where we've kind of talked about it before, where there's kind of differences in wrestling when you get the lighter guys wrestle a certain way, the middleweights wrestle a certain way, and then the heavier guys all kind of wrestle a certain way. And it's going to be like, I think that the lighter guys are more fun to watch because it's a lot of like a high flying.
Yeah, there's a lot of scrambling. It's a lot of action.
Yeah, and then when you get into the middleweights, it's a lot of just you have the kids that have a lot of technique and don't have a lot of muscle there. Then you have the guys that are just brick shit houses, and then you have the rare breed that can combine both of them together, and those guys put in some work. So.
Yeah, the middleweight classes are always fun. It's more of a chess match, right? And as a coach and a wrestling fan, 30-year wrestling fan, you start to appreciate the chess match inside of the match a little bit more. As a new fan of the sport, you want that action, you want that pace, you want the moves and this, that, and the other. So, it is nice. It's nice to see the smaller weights kind of. The talent kind of catching up to itself, and part of that is Mississippi's growing, and we've got these younger kids are getting older and they're more experienced. So as we grow, I think that's going to continue to be a staple, right? Is the lower weights are going to continue to provide us with a lot of fun. So that's good, man. It's been good. Have you got a chance to see any of the new teams over there on the coast yet, or no?
No. Well, the one, no, and they haven't started competing yet. I'm not sure exactly when they're gonna, but I mean, as of right now, I mean, I know D'Iberville hasn't started competing, but it got David Sutherland down there doing all the good plugs, which we appreciate. No, D'Iberville hasn't started competing. I have seen a lot of action from some of the new teams up north, and
I've seen they've all gone. Yeah, they've all wrestled, and it's nice. I mean, not all of them have been on a stream, not all of them have been something that you see in person, but you can at least see the results. And man, there's some kids. There's one kid, I can't remember his name in particular, at the private school that's up there in the north. And if Cody's still in the comments, he can help me out.
North Point Christian?
North Point. There's one kid in the middle weights who looks like he could be really good. And I hate that they're not competing in a postseason event because it'd be nice.
I have absolutely no dog in the fight, no information. I need to be studying. I need to be studying on a lot of those.
They had a
North
kid that
teams.
looked pretty good. Hernando's got a couple kids that look pretty good. Haven't seen a whole lot of DC yet. I know that they will probably be getting going here pretty soon. I'm sure that they're. I don't know if they're going to be at the Black Horse this weekend, but if they are, I'm sure Truckner or Rust or I think Cody might be sending some people to it too. So maybe I can get a little information on them. I won't be there. I'll be in Arizona at a soccer tournament. But last term of the year. So after this, I can finally immerse myself in the world of wrestling.
Where you belong in the wrestling room.
I know. I don't belong on a soccer pitch. Could you imagine a real life Dio dude running down the field? Come on, man.
I mean, I've seen you on the sidelines. But so, hey, David Sutherland says he believes that D'Iberville is trying to make their first event this next weekend at the South Mississippi Duels. So we should hopefully be able to get a peek at D'Iberville and what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah. I mean,
which could be a good event in Oak Grove.
Yeah, and I think everybody on the north, all the new schools in the north, I think have put in a match that I can think of. Corinth has put in. I know they had one that got canceled tonight because of a lack of referees. Which I'm going to take this opportunity, if you're listening, and you think you might want to be a ref, don't think about being a ref. Just become one.
Do it. Just Nike it up and just do it.
And just do it. Just pull your little socks up and let's go. Let's become a ref because we need you. If you're one of these kids who wrestled in high school and you're still hanging around town, or you're going to college, it's like Starkville or Belhaven, MC, or you're pumming around the coast or North Mississippi, that North Pontotoc area, like, come on, man. We need you to come in. We need you to ref. Like, we need refs bad. It's a sad thing that Corinth had to cancel a duel tonight because they couldn't get a ref. But I also understand, like, we can't keep pulling these same guys away from their families multiple nights out of a week to go 3 hours away to ref a match. So we need some refs. Bad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
maybe I'll become a ref. I don't want.
No, I ain't doing it. Hey, you know what? I've kind of thought about it to just be a filler, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get my books.
Dude, have you ever reffed a match? I've reffed a couple, and it's not fun.
It's not fun. It's not fun. And we all like to. I've reffed some challenge matches, and you get in some of those positions, and we all like to poke fun at the refs or criticize the refs. I mean, some of those positions are hard. So I mean, it's you don't see everything. You see what you want to see from a coach's perspective while you're watching wrestling, and then you don't see. Like, I mean, if Van Cleve is wrestling a St. Andrews kid, you better believe I'm going to see every single locking hands that St. Andrews has, and I'm throwing it up and I'm getting noisy on the sidelines, and so is the rest of the 19,000 coaches that we have on the bench. But, and me and Steve are going to be the only ones that are going to get team points taken. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're going to see what we want to see, and then Tyler's going to see what he's going to see from the other side, and then being a neutral party in the middle, trying to call it fair. You're not always in the best position to see all those, and
it's just hard. I say it's not fun. It is fun. It really is fun, and it's fun to give back to the sport. It's just hard, and like the times that I've tried to do it, I end up watching the match and forgetting that I was supposed to score the match. So like 45 seconds, a minute of action happens, and I'm just watching, and I'm like, oh, they went out of bounds, out of bounds, And then the rest the coaches are in the corner are going, Knox, you got to score the action. I'm like, oh shit, let me replay the action in my head. There's 2 points for a takedown, or 3 points for a takedown. There's reversal here, then there was an escape, and it's it's for me. I'm too ADHD for it. I can't do it. Like it's not going to work for me. But I'll try. If we need refs, I'll try. If Brian is listening, Brian, if we need refs, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll try.
Look, not with your tournament schedule for soccer. All right, we can't count on you for nothing. And your sleep schedule. No, I can't even count on Tyler to. I have to double take every time. Hey, we're going live tonight. You ready to go? Hey, we're going tonight. And then half the time, 30 minutes pass. I'll shoot him a text. I wake up the next morning. And I have a text from Tyler saying, "Hey man, don't be mad at me. I fell asleep."
One time. Happened one time.
That's happened 2 times.
Okay, it's happened twice out of 4 episodes. Okay, so half the time. Look, man, I can't help it, dude. I got a crazy schedule.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
it's a busy life.
batting 50-50 odds right now.
It's a busy life.
And
bro.
before
That's
this,
all
it
right.
was 2 out of 3. So they're going down. You're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. But yeah, but back to watching the schools, the new schools in the north. We've seen them all compete, and they're all actively competing, and they look good. They all have, at least from what I've been able to tell, a few wrestlers that they can build a program on, and that's what you want, right? Like DC was the new program last year. And the beginning of the year, everybody was like, "Oh man, they're nothing. They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing." But I said at the beginning of the year, I was like, "Watch these kids when they come to state because they've got 3 to 4 kids they can build a program on." And look what happened at state. They showed up. There was a different DC at state, and they won some matches they weren't supposed to win. Kids getting some medal rounds they're not supposed to get into. Next thing you know, they scored some more team points than what people think. And now we'll fast forward to this year. Again, they've got 4 or 5 kids, the same kids that they can build this program on, and that's how programs get better. You need a program needs 2 to 3 kids that they can build on, and when they get 2 to 3 kids, now you're like, okay, now we can build this program, and that's what y'all have done. That's what Ocean Springs has done. That's what Lewisburg has done. St. Pat's is doing it this year. I'm hoping that we and St. Andrews do it this year. It looks like DC is going to do it. Oxford did it. Maybe they peaked last year. We'll talk about that in a second. Tupelo looks like a better team this year. I mean, I'm sure they're riding the Clay Crane train, but that was a tongue twister, man. Say that 5 times fast. But
I ain't doing that.
but that's what a program needs, is especially a new program. If they can get 2 to 3 kids year one that they're like, okay, it's here for these kids and we can build, then they turn into something. They turn into betterness, right? They turn into something better, and hopefully for Hernando, North Point, Corinth, and is there another one up there? Olive Branch. Is there another one up there? Is that it? I think that's it. Hopefully, those teams can find. And I haven't seen Olive Branch, so I don't know. But hopefully those teams can find that like 2 to 3 guys that they can just build a program around. And 2 to 3 years, now we're talking about them not being a new program anymore. We're talking about them actively competing and hey, are they going to finish in the top 3? They're going to finish in the top 4. That's what we hope. That's what we hope for all new programs. Even as a coach of another school, that's what we hope for new programs. So
yeah, and I think as we continue to grow and we get more and more teams every year, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon that these guys that are a couple years behind that are starting this year are going to be a couple years ahead of those guys that are coming up, and they'll be the bullies on the block for a little bit. But I know you brought up Tupelo, but so let's talk about Tupelo. Because I always get torn. I always get torn when we talk about Tupelo because, one, if we say anything bad, I know that Brian Fox is gonna slide into a text message, and then also I don't want to run into Grady Sue Hurley in a dark alley because he'll triangle choke me out, and I don't know if he'll let go, but I'm not sold on Tupelo. I'm not. I think that they're coming up and they're trending in the right direction, but I'm not sold on Tupelo. I look at Tupelo right this year as, and I'm gonna say it, at like they're like the Seattle Seahawks, right? They're gonna be okay. I'm a big Seahawks fan, right? They're gonna be okay, and they might squeak out a couple wins, but they'll beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, and then they're gonna lose to anybody that's good.
All right, finish and I'll go.
Well, I mean, look, they wrestled the other day. I'm gonna try to pull it up, see if I can pull it up on my phone. But they wrestled. It was Saltillo and then a couple new schools. I think Olive Branch was one of them, and Olive Branch was one of them, and North Point Christian maybe. And they absolutely
they wrestled the same night that North Point wrestled at Lewisburg. So
maybe not. But it was like two newer schools and then Saltillo. Oh, French Camp Academy. That's right.
There you go.
So they wrestled French Camp and then those guys and my gosh, I gotta figure this out. But it's like I think they played bully on the blocks for the weaker programs that they should have smoked, and then they lost to Saltillo, which I think is one of the powerhouse programs up north.
But I think it was close though. I think it was close. I think it was a close score if I remember correctly.
I think it was closer than it should have been, but I don't know. Hang on, let me pull it up.
I'm not hating on Tupelo as much as you. Here's where I'm gonna hate on
Tupelo. Don't think I'm hating on
Tupelo.
I got to do it for the brand,
I know. My thing with Tupelo is, as I look at Tupelo, and no offense to any of the coaches that Tupelo had prior to this season. No offense to Grady. Grady, I love Grady. Grady is a nice dude, and he is super knowledgeable.
Hey, this is a fair point. This is a fair point, right? Will, and I'm going to butcher your last name, buddy. Will Picayune. He said, just wait until those football boys get on the mats. They're playing in the state championship this week. So they haven't got, you know what? Hey, maybe my foot is going to go into my mouth, and I might be 100% wrong about Tupelo. But as of right now, I'm not impressed.
But here's my take on Tupelo, right? And no offense to any of the coaches that had before. No offense to Grady. Grady's a great dude. For Mississippi MMA, he is a legend. You know what I mean? Like, he's a legend. And hats off to him for helping us get this wrestling off the ground. He was one of the he was the first club in the state really to super offer wrestling as an option, and push it and continues to push it. And Grady's a great dude, but he wasn't a wrestling coach year one. You know what I mean? He was an MMA guy who knew a little bit about wrestling, knew a lot of bit about BJJ and coaching wrestling. Go to year two. Grady's not on the team. He's not coaching them. And they had I can't remember the guy's name, but I can't remember his name. I think he helps at the UFM occasionally too, and he's got younger kids who wrestle at UFM. I think, he was doing the best he could, but he wasn't necessarily. He just didn't have them wrestling to, I think, what their best ability was. Fast forward this year, now you got Brian and you got his assistant Ryan, with I'm sure Mustafa's in the room off and on. They look better across the board this year.
All right. So we got Tupelo, French Camp, Saltillo, and Olive Branch. So they laid the wood on Olive Branch and French Camp, and then they lost to Saltillo 39-34.
See, that's close, man.
That's close.
And that's without the football players. And I'm telling you,
I haven't seen a great town either.
Yeah, we don't know what they're going to have with football players, and I didn't look to see who won what matches.
No, me neither.
But that's close, man, and that's not what you would have got out of Tupelo the last 2 years.
Cody Gilbert said Tupelo's going to surprise you, Andy. So I hope you're right.
Yeah. So since we're continuing on the North has just had more.
Cody's my eye on the North.
Yeah, Cody's your eye on the North. Cody's my eye on the North too.
See,
I think we're his eye.
I just want to give a F's in the chat for Cody Gilbert and his retirement from coaching bowling. Next year's on me, buddy.
All right, there you go. But and I know we're talking a lot about the North, which is good because this podcast has seemed to be centered around the South a lot to start the season. The North has wrestled a lot more than the South.
They have.
This reverse camera thing is messing my hat up. I can't do it, but I'm too bald to not have it. So it's just going to be messed up, and you're going to have to deal with it. But anyways, back to the North. So Tupelo, I think I think Tupelo is going to surprise you. Either that, or maybe we were too high on Saltillo, which I don't want to say that, but we might have been. And maybe early season losses, we did pound for pound rankings last episode, and at least one of the people we had on pound for pound rankings, and another person we said we could probably easily put in there, lost to Lewisburg.
Yeah. Who was that? That was
Mahan and
Brandon
Hammerhead
and Case Kincaid.
Yep.
So I almost don't even want to say it from a coaching aspect, but there's a great.
If you're going to lose. If you're going to lose, lose early.
Hey, way to
and
support your teammates, Will. I don't agree with that statement, but we'll see.
Well, what do you say?
Find me after the state tournament. He said Tupelo is going to have 2 state champions with Clay Crane and Porter Vaughn. Book it. I don't agree. But
what weight?
Anyways,
ask him real quick. What weight is Clay Crane going?
I can find out.
Just he's listening.
What
weight's he going?
Give me the weights. And I'll tell you. Case did lose. Case KK did lose. John, he did.
Yeah,
lose.
he lost.
Got pinned.
Yeah, he got pinned. So did Brandon Mahan. Now, from what I heard, Kincaid just gassed out. So it's probably just early season lack of conditioning. But I didn't hear anything about the Brandon Mahan match. It could have been a fluke. That's the great thing about wrestling, though, right? Is anybody can beat anybody any night. You catch somebody in the wrong spot, and they're on their back, you got them. That's why I love wrestling.
Who wrestled 50 or 75?
For who? Lewisburg?
I'm looking at I'm trying to read the comments on this, and for everybody that ends up listening to this on Podbean, it is not going to make sense. But I'm gonna have to go on a rant. Let me figure this out.
That's what I'm good at doing, baby. That's what I'm good at doing. But yeah, Clay Crane at times since he was brought up in the chat. And I'm not dogging on the kid because at times Clay Crane, I watch him wrestle and I'm like, ooh, this kid has it. He's got it figured out. And then there's times where it's like he second guesses himself, and I'm like, it's just not there. So I think maybe he's in between his ears. And that's a lot of wrestlers' problems is they get in between their ears. You know what I mean? Like you win or lose the match before you step on the mat. You have to be mentally prepared to go to war. And if you're not, if there's any doubt, it's over.
Okay. So Brian Fox just came into the chat and said Clay Crane beat Brandon Stacks at 175. And then
That's
Porter
2
Vaughn
losses start the season?
And then Porter Vaughn beat Trip Nallen at 144.
That's 2 people in our pound for pound that went down the week after we did it.
That's 3 people that went down in our pound for pound. We're not doing pound for pounds anymore. It was 3. All 3 of them. All 3 of the Saltillo boys.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Who'd we have? No.
You had Quinn.
No, we had Quinn, Caden. We had Trip, Stacks, and
you had the Picayune boy. Don't back out of the Picayune boy now.
Hey, I ain't backing out of the Picayune boy. He's up. He's up big. He's up 75. He's gonna lay the wood.
Yeah, but that was your pound for pound. That was your number 5. Because I was like, ooh, and then I went super safe with Parker Bradley. Instead of Logan Bradley instead of Parker Bradley.
Maybe you did. Maybe you did.
Yeah, I know I did.
Hey,
Still trap me. So wait a minute. So Stacks got beat twice now, and Porter Vaughn beat Tripp.
That's what it looks like.
Man, maybe there's something to. Maybe there's something to these 2 kids. Maybe I'm eating my words on Clay Crane, and maybe you're gonna eat your words on Tupelo as a whole.
You know what? I would love to be wrong. John Crane said Clay appreciates the motivation.
Look, man, that's what we're here for. We're here for motivation.
Hey,
and to be fair, I think Clay looks great at times. I love watching the kid wrestle. Sometimes I watch him like, this kid has it. He's going to win a state championship. And then sometimes I watch it and it's just like, what are we doing? But that's
so. Here's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to stand by this. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. Right? The North is wrestling the North, and then the North can look really dominant wrestling the North, and then they wrestle somebody that's like decent from the South, and they get smoked. It's happened.
I would agree with that. But we're talking about three state finalists last year.
No, those are tough losses. Those are some good matches.
One picked up 2 losses. So now you got to wonder, are we in our brain here? Is he in his head?
Dude, maybe Maybe he's an RN.
I mean, he is because we're talking about him.
I'm trying to.
All right. So back to North and the wrestling instead of rants. So my top 14 teams from the North have changed. I don't know if yours have.
Let me hear yours.
All right. So we just watched over the last couple weeks Lewisburg dismantle Saltillo.
I think we were in a solid agreement that Lewisburg is the team to beat.
Right. But then we watched them dismantle Oxford last night.
Lewisburg?
Yeah.
And Oxford's probably, I don't know. Lewisburg is the team to beat, and then 3 through 4 is a crapshoot.
See, I had moved Oxford up to my 2 spot after they beat Saltillo. And now, I mean, Tupelo's creeping in my 4. I'm dropping. No. Oh, I got an anonymous tip, but I'm not going to say that one. And you can say it, but I'm not.
Hey, what's funny is that same thing just came up in the chat too. Clay also beat Trip Nowlin during the preseason as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Trip's wrestling, what's Trip wrestling? 132?
44 again?
44. And Clay's wrestling 170 something? I mean.
I don't know. I'm so confused on where these boys are going right now.
Dude, wrestling has been turned on its head, and we're not even we just finished Thanksgiving. And the North,
This is why I don't do
wrestling has turned on its head already.
This is why I don't do rankings.
We need to do them though, but we're gonna wait. Heads up, everybody. We are going to do some rankings. We're going to do some rankings, but we're going to wait till after the Bulldog Bash. So
it says John Crane, right? I'm taking this source. He said Clay wrestles 57, Trips at 44. David Sutherland says it's still super early in the season. Lots can happen, and the North is wrestling hard this year. It's great to see all of it. Like I agree.
I agree.
But they're doing work. This is hey, maybe we spoke this into existence, right? Or that new rule change that was super controversial. But they're getting their events in, baby.
They are. They're getting them in. But wrestling's been turned on its head already, man. It's fun. But rankings. So we are going to do rankings. We're going to do rankings, but we're going to wait until after the Bulldog Bash. So probably the first week. Sorry, Bulldog Brawl. After the first week in January, you'll have the SIP Wrestling podcast rankings. And we're doing that for 2 reasons. One, there's 2 real big in-state tournaments happening in December. So me and Andy felt like that would be a good time to really see where people were at, right? You got is it the Wave Classic? Is that what they're calling it in Tupelo? Tupelo's hosting a tournament. There's a lot of the schools from the North, and I think maybe a few from the South will come up. And then the Bulldog Bash Brawl.
Bulldog Brawl? Come on. Act like it's your first time going.
Dude,
it is outside of, and not even being a homer, right? Outside of the state tournament, the Bulldog Brawl is the tournament in the state of Mississippi. It's the premier tournament.
It is this year.
And it has been.
No. The St. Andrews tournament. St. Andrews was bigger than that one.
St. Andrews was a good one, but then they quit on us. So.
And you got to talk to Truckner about that one.
Hey, Marissa Shepard asked if you guys are going to Black Horse. We are not going to Black Horse.
St. Andrews is going to have some kids at Black Horse, and then we are sending a group of kids to the DeSoto County Wrestling Club. Shout out to them over in Hernando to do the Perler Wrestling Camp. I would suggest anybody who is within the Jackson Metro, we'll say Jackson, the Jackson Metro North, if you're not wrestling in the Black Horse or you're not wrestling this coming up weekend, you should go over to that Perler camp at the DeSoto County Wrestling Club. It's a 1-day camp, 2 sessions. They're going over the 7 deadly takedowns, 7 deadly technique or something like that. But Perler is just, they're great. So,
yeah, they're doing. Perler's doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, St. Andrews will have at least some kids wrestling up there. It's not our full team. I think we're just sending 4 of the more experienced guys up there. For those of you who haven't done the Black Horse tournament, it is a good tournament. It's a good one in the Tennessee area. There's some good competition there, so it's going to be fun. I think that the Mississippi Wrestling Network, I think that they're trying to get in there and live stream the semifinals and the finals. So hopefully they do, and we can see some of that, even if it's not Mississippi boys in it. It'll just be fun to watch. And we'll plug them too. Like if you're listening to us, go give them a like and a follow too, because they're doing some great things for the wrestling and the state of Mississippi. It's nice to see them live stream events. It's nice to see them hear their podcast and listen to their take on stuff. It's probably a lot different from our take on stuff, but it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. But man, I'm not hating Tupelo. I just can't get over this Tupelo thing, dude. Like I think Tupelo is a good program. I think they're going to surprise some people. I agree. I think I said that earlier in the year that Tupelo could surprise some people. If I didn't, then I'm saying it now. I'm just kind of following the bandwagon. But who knows, man? Wrestling's new.
We'll see where it goes.
It's in his. I can't believe it, dude. It's on his head.
Dude, I don't know. I'm gonna be diving into track after this to figure some of this stuff out.
Same. Is there been any upsets down there on the south since we've had upset galore in the north?
I mean, not really. I would say, well, yeah. So I would say, Bryce DeFlippo beat Brady Carroll last night, and that was a 7-4 match.
It's a state finalist, right?
Brady Carroll, that's a state champ and a state finalist, either 2-time state finalist, 1-time state champ. So, we're being so our boys teams last night, we beat St. Martin and we beat St. Pat. And then our girls team lost by 3 to St. Martin's girls, who are tough, just as tough as they were last year. Didn't skip a beat. But I think we hung like 50 on St. Pat's, and I think we hung 65 on St. Martin, and we didn't wrestle well.
Yeah.
So we're harsher critics on our own kids. So we had a lot of stuff that we could have done a lot different, and our lineup from now through the beginning of January is going to be different, and then from January to postseason, who knows where it's going to be at.
Yeah, it's early. It's way early in the season. But it's already been fun. I haven't seen a whole lot of girls stuff out of the north. I don't know how the girls will look down in the south. We don't have a girls program at St. Andrews, so I do pay attention to it to talk about it, but I don't hit it like I probably should, and I apologize to the female wrestlers. Y'all deserve better. But I haven't seen a whole lot of girls wrestling out of the north. So I don't know. Maybe there's been some in the south. I knew Oak Grove. Didn't they have some girls go down to Gulf Shores too? Didn't they do pretty good?
Yep. Oak Grove's girls were there, and then St. Martin just did a girls tournament, a purely girls tournament this past weekend, where I want to say that order was St. Martin, Van Cleve, Oak Grove, and then the Ocean Springs girls took 4th. And that was good. It was good, quick day, but some good wrestling that happened, and I think we're going to see a lot of those matches a lot this season. Girls wrestling is just as we continue to grow, we're going through the growing pains there too. So Van Cleve doesn't have a huge girls wrestling team, but I think we're bigger than a lot of the teams have. And I know Ocean Springs has said that they have a full lineup. St. Martin's has dang near a full lineup. Picayune has a couple girls. Everybody's just kind of like sprinkled in the rest of them.
Yeah. Tupelo looks like they got a pretty full lineup too. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see. We've seen. I don't even want to go there, but we've seen like pretty full girls lineups in the past that didn't do great things. So,
well, I'm pretty much wrestled out. I'm not wrestled out, but I don't really know.
He ain't even started yet.
You're right. I'm caught up on this Tupelo thing now. Now I want to get off of this so I can dive into track wrestling and research it like we should have done before we started this, but we were so eager about doing a live feed that we didn't prepare anything. And,
Hey, it gets better every episode. We'll figure it out. Now that we've got the first video pod jitters out of the way, I think we'll be good to go.
Do we need to update it? We need to update our pound for pounds.
Huh? We need to update our pound for pounds bad. And we're going to have some discussions about that to figure that one out. And we'll just come up with one together. And then I think, but I'm going to wait.
We're not going to do that.
No. And I'm pretty excited to do our rankings. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I think that's going to take us a while to figure out because I think there's going to be a lot of bickering.
Yeah.
And then I also want to invite Cody Gilbert into that so that we can get a significantly better eye up north involved in that. I think he'll have a pretty objective stance on that, and we'll get these knocked out. Pretty excited to do that. Rankings were fun when I did them a couple years ago, but they weren't fun enough to keep doing it. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Did you watch any of that match yesterday? I know y'all had that match yesterday, so I didn't know if you.
No, man, I was working.
Well, did you go back and watch it? It's still on YouTube.
No, I was working at my other job. We'll get there. I'll get back and watch it. I've kind of just been in my zone down here. So
yeah, man, I want to shout out to the littlest Jensen. I think it's Charlie. I can't remember his first name. Now I feel bad. This kid is in eighth grade, I think, and he looks like he weighs every bit of 90 pounds with ankle weights on his feet, wrestling 106, and he is just giving it all. I hope he keeps it up. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about. I will keep this relatively short, man. Let's talk about some stuff that we want to get done with the pod, right? So we figured out the video thing. So now we're going to have to figure out how to extract the audio so we can put it up on Podbean, but I don't think that's going to be too hard. We've got one guest already lined up, working on some other ones. We've got a college coach lined up to come in. We just got to hammer out some details. So we're looking forward to bringing him on and picking his brain about recruiting and what he's looking for and all that kind of stuff. We had David Sutherland was on episode 2. Yep. So, we'll have we should be having, Grady Sue Hurley and the other assistant coach from Tupelo reached out and they're interested. We're going to get them on. Just trying to figure this all out. We had a pretty big gap between our last pod and this one. I just looked today and it was like 28 days.
Yeah, holidays.
I pulled it up on Podbean and some of that was the holidays. We wanted to get that going. And then before that, after the Gulf Shores clash, I was wrecked. No voice, zero voice. So, just trying to put out quality products. A couple other things that Tyler and I have talked about, and I'm just going to speak it into existence because it's going to happen. So Tyler and I are watching all of this stuff, and that's kind of one of those things that when those, Porter Vaughn and Clay Crane picking off a couple of those guys, it really piqued our interest because the SIP Wrestling podcast will be doing a Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah.
And so, all of these are watching. Or all of these are interesting to that, and we'll be going through we'll be figuring out how we're going to do that. Probably end up getting a plaque and getting it out to those guys or whoever wins it. And then other than that, we're just looking forward to keep developing this, and we're figuring out how to use it and keep honing our craft so that we can get you guys a good product. And then, I mean, just more and more wrestling is coming down the pipe, and it's going to be a ton of fun to see. I know the last couple episodes have been pretty South heavy. This one's been pretty North heavy, a lot of North talk. And then Marissa talked or said, I would love for you to have one of those kiddos that went to college for wrestling come be a guest and talk about the transition. And
that is what works.
It's already happening. So, I mean, we'll have a couple of those. We've got some of those kids are coming back for Christmas break. And that's super easy to make happen. Really looking forward to that. It's already happening. Some of those could be as simple as, I could do it with the kids. Tyler could do it with the kids. We don't have to be doing it together. I mean, those will be, now that we can go live on the Facebook page. I mean, there's just going to be random lives that aren't necessarily part of the podcast that are just going to be, Tyler or I getting bored and wanting to talk wrestling with you guys. And that's always a good time.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're here. We're here for y'all and for us. So, really this is just satisfies my urge to talk wrestling, and Andy is the person I like to talk wrestling with. I'm pretty sure it's the same for him. So this way I don't have to talk about it at work, and people are like, Tyler, we don't know what the hell you're talking about, so stop.
I still talk about it at work, and they don't care, but I just keep talking about it. So
yeah, I mean, we're here for y'all. The plan is to have one of those college kids come on again. Like Andy said, we got it, trying to work out the logistics to have a college coach on who's heavily recruiting Mississippi. I say heavily. I mean, Mississippi, they have a pipeline into Mississippi. So that'll be good to do that. And, we got a few other guests lined up. Andy went ahead and talked about all that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And, we welcome the questions. You have a question, shoot it to us on Facebook. We will answer it. I promise you, we will answer the question. If we're on live, I can't see the comments. I'm going to have to get Andy to tell me how to do that. I'm not tech savvy.
I don't know. I don't know how you're going to be able to see it.
Yeah, I'm not tech savvy, so I'll figure it out.
What you're gonna end up having to do is just mute it on your phone so you can watch the stream or the comments pop up
on the stream.
So as of right now, so without paying for it, this is about as good as we can get without paying for it.
Right.
So we can only stream to one platform. We will be streaming to multiple platforms soon.
Okay.
The YouTube link that we put out, I got to clean that up. That was my personal YouTube link that I'm just going to scrap all the stuff that was on there before and
go from there.
Yeah, figure that all out. Sorry, I got lost in a comment, but and it'll be good. We're looking forward to this, and we're going to continue to try to grow it. Like we've said before, and Tyler said it last year when the other Mississippi Wrestling podcast popped up. There's no part of this that Tyler and I are feel like our toes are stepped on, we are stoked, absolutely stoked about the Mississippi Wrestling Network. We want to work with those guys. As the state keeps growing, as these guys keep developing, and more of these outlets, hey, if you guys have questions, you have questions about the South kids, you have questions about the kids up north, Tyler and I have been around the state for a long time. We've got this stuff figured out. So, we are willing to collab on anything. And we have reached out. I've reached out. Tyler's reached out, commented on Facebook page. Coach Sutherland has commented on Facebook pages. Hey, we are once again calling out the Mississippi Wrestling Network. And, you said that you wanted 4 teams to come down, or 4 teams to be able to come down to an event. Hey, the Bulldog Brawl, right? And if you got questions off the top of, I think it's the 30th and the 31st of December, come on down, man. Tyler and I will sit at the table with you guys, chop it up all day. And then we'll hop up. We'll be in and out coaching kids, back to the table. It'll be a good time. And, first round of beers is on Tyler and I. And we'll have a good time. We are if you guys want to come down, cover some good South wrestling, there's going to be some good teams from Alabama, probably some good teams from Louisiana. I don't have 100% on that team list, but I mean, it's going to be some quality wrestling, 2 days of quality wrestling. And we highly encourage and we highly welcome you guys to come down. And we really want you guys to welcome or to come down so that we can hang out with you guys and, pass some knowledge on and get it all figured out. You guys would be a good time, and you guys would have a good time. So,
yeah. And yeah, like Andy said, I love it. I mean, the more people doing this kind of stuff, the better to an extent, but I know Tim Dobbins. I've known Tim Dobbins for a long time, and he's a great stand-up dude. I know he's busy and he's got his hand in like 1.5 million things. And I know eventually he's going to get back to me and we will get something done together, because me and him we've been talking about it for over a year now, getting something together, even before I brought Andy into this podcast. So, I mean, it's going to happen. I love they're doing it. So, like I said earlier, if you're listening and watching us, go like and follow them. It's a great way to watch. It's a great way to watch wrestling and to grow your knowledge. Something that I am going to bring back, and I think Andy's going to. I hadn't talked to Andy about it, but he's surprised, Andy. We're going to bring back some technique videos. And, if we got a YouTube channel stood up, Brian Fox, you kind of, like Andy said the last time, we've been on our edge of our seat waiting for that Technique Tuesday video for the last 2 years, 3 years.
Or all the mat rules.
Yeah.
Come on.
So we'll bring it back. The SIP Wrestling will bring it back. We'll carry the torch. But yeah, man, just stay tuned. We got a lot of good things planned, We want to do a website. We want to put out some editorial stuff, some stuff that we've typed. That I know me and Andy have typed up a whole lot of different written articles about how college recruiting works. How to help with that.
How to carry yourself on social media, how to utilize social media to work your platform. I will tell you, probably one of my favorite Mississippi kids on social media right now is Trip Allen. Yeah. I love Trip's social media game, and I don't think he's even trying. And, Trip, if like, hey, shoot me a message, man. I think that I have a couple ways that you could probably increase your game, and I have a couple tips for you. But I love your social media game, and it's like you see a lot of these kids that just they put their successes on social media, and that's a lot of things that you see on social media. Social media is an avenue that only you only have to display what you want to display. So yeah. when you really just want to display where you're successful. And what I really truly like about Trip Allen is Trip displays when he's successful, but he also puts in that work, and he shows the work that he's putting in too. I mean, He had one not too long ago. Hey, welcome, Dennis. We've been holding the crickets for you. But so we but Trip also he puts in that work. I mean, he had that post where it was like everybody's at homecoming and I'm putting in that work, and he was over at a prospect camp at Montevallo. I love that. That got me stoked. I wanted to just go out and run 2 miles just because I was like, dang, Trip's putting in the work. I need to put in the work too. But I mean, it's awesome. A Trip. I mean, you're doing. I don't even think you're trying hard, but dude, you are doing the damn thing, and I love to see it.
But yeah, that's we'd like to get a website up. So if anybody out here listening, watching, knows how to do tech website stuff, please shoot us a message. I know,
and also wants to do it on the low.
Yeah, I know Trip's mom sent me a whole bunch of information, and I'm kind of working through it myself. But again, that's kind of like a colorblind guy trying to teach art. So, and I can say that because my kid's, completely colorblind, so I can say it. It's okay. But, so I'm trying to get it to do, but we'll see what happens with this podcast thing, social media outlet in the future. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a wild ride. As of right now, I don't think we have any intentions in monetizing it anytime soon. Maybe that changes if we want to help, some of these new programs with some financial aspects of stuff. That's something me and Andy can talk about, maybe with enough encouragement from y'all. But
and I think the only time that we've ever put anything out for money would be I put it out like a link to a supplement company that I work with, and it's Bucked Up Supplements. And then so I get if you guys use the link that we posted on there, we get like 20%. And all of that would just go straight back into the podcast, so we can improve our stuff. And it would be super easy to tell what money's coming in from that, because I'm literally not making any money from it right now. So,
but yeah, so I mean, we do need some help with getting stuff for the podcast, because I'm doing this on my phone. Andy, I'm pretty sure, is on his computer. And
I'm doing it on my wife's laptop. It's not even my own.
And I would like to have big fancy stuff like the Mississippi Wrestling Network has, with headphones and keyboards and color cords and stuff. But
I just want them to come down to the Bulldog Brawl so I can play with their toys.
maybe we can agree, if they come down, we'll go up.
Shoot, I don't know if I can make that. Hey, you know what? If they come down, Tyler will go up. I don't know if I can make that commitment.
I don't mind.
I'm scared of 2-pack, man.
I mean, mine is too, but I'll figure out a way to make it happen. I'll figure out a way.
I'll pimp out Tyler to the north, and you're closer anyway, so.
Yeah, and I have friends up there, and it's easy for me to stay. Yeah, so yeah.
All right. Well,
you know,
something I thought
about? Yeah, something I thought about. I thought about this the other day watching the live stream of the matches yesterday. When did the shoe game change in wrestling?
When did the
remember? Yeah, when we were younger.
Okay.
If you had those flashy looking, god awful, ugly colored shoes, you knew that was a badass MF about to step on the mat that you're about to wrestle, you know? And now it's like everybody has that now. And now it's like, now it's not the flashy shoe, it's who has the old or the dingiest or the most basic shoe. And then those are the guys you're like, oh shit, watch out for that guy. You know, he's got some basic Asics on. When did the shoe game?
I don't know, but like I'm looking at shoes like on the regular. Like I look at wrestling shoes all the time. And I wear like Matt Flex 6s.
Combat Speeds.
Yeah. No, I wear Matt Flex 6s. Just like because, I'm a grown man and I just bought shoes at Academy and they had like bottom of the line Nikes, bottom of the line Adidas,
$34 wrestling shoes.
and Matt Flexes. And I was like, I've worn Asics for like 15 years. I'm just going to stick with these guys. I was still wearing my high school shoes the first year that I was coaching at Ocean Springs. Like the soles were worn out and cracked and busted. And those were sweet, dude. I mean, my high school shoes were my favorite shoe of all time. I had the
Gables.
No, I had the old school Kales.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those were good shoes too.
You know what? I'm gonna
go get them. I don't have my Combat Speeds are downstairs, but I like the Adidas Combat Speeds, and they're still relatively cheap, and they got them in bunch of fun colors and stuff. All y'all guys are wearing Rudis. That's an expensive shoe.
Dude, wrestling shoes are so crazy expensive too.
Rudis does have some good ones though.
Look at these bad Larrys.
Yeah, bad. Look at them things.
Look at those, dude. The old school Kales. I think they were like V3s. I don't know, dude. I paid so when I was in high school, my coach had like a box full of shoes.
Yeah.
And I had some other, maybe my junior years, the beginning of my senior year, I got these ones, but it was like coach had a box of shoes. And if you needed shoes, you just pull one out of the box when you were done with practice, toss them back in. Like you forgot your shoes one day, whatever. Grab a pair of shoes. But if you needed shoes, you didn't have shoes, coach was selling these shoes for $10. And I forgot my shoes one day and I grabbed those ones and tossed them on. And I was like, man, these feel really good. And just threw coach $10. And I was like, hey, I'm keeping these things.
That's what's up. I just was on my mind. I was thinking about it and I wanted to say something earlier about it. And then we got in the lead.
Marissa said the Rudis shoes tore up in less than 4 months. And I think Rudis.
I've heard that about Rudis.
I've heard that a lot about Rudis.
Yeah.
But I think that they're getting better. But I've also heard that where their quality isn't great, their customer service is insanely good.
I'm always
Yeah, I have heard that, and they will like if you're not like satisfied, like they'll hook you up.
I am gonna plug always ASIC and Adidas. Those dads have been making wrestling shoes since wrestling shoes were a thing. ASICs and Adidas all day long. The combat speeds are great for an offensive wrestler. If you're a defensive boy, don't get them because you'll slide all across the mat every time you try to sprawl and you have no grips on the sides. So, but if you are that attack guy, combat speeds are where it's at. The ASICs, they're a little bit more expensive, but man, they're just such a classic looking shoe. And I have looked for the last 3 years to find a pair of ASIC Tigers in good condition that are under $500.
Oh, good luck. You ain't finding them.
I'm not gonna find them. I just want them for like a trophy, like because I do kind of collect them. So,
I'm a shoe nerd, like, and I'll like show my wife wrestling shoes and be like, "Oh, look at these! Aren't these cool?" And my wife's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't care."
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Andy. I don't care.
You don't need to buy shoes. And I'm like, "Look how cool these shoes are, though." And she's like, "No, I don't care."
And then you watch it, you look at them, and you're like, I'll start competing. I'll buy these and I'll start competing. And then you never start competing, but you just have another pair of shoes.
But anyways, dude, and then with Rudis, right? Rudis is always a crapshoot for me too, because Rudis does really good with their marketing, and the pictures of shoes will look great. Then you'll see the shoes in person, and you're like, man, those kind of look like butt. I don't like them.
Well, I know we're never going to get a Rudis sponsor, so sorry, Rudis. We don't hate you, I promise. Give us some free shoes, and maybe we'll change our mind. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, look.
So if you want to sponsor the Sip Wrestling podcast and help Tyler and I with our shoe addiction.
All right, we've rambled enough. I'm sure we've lost a lot of people's attention. This was really just mine and Andy. We wanted to talk some wrestling, and we wanted to get this live thing going. So we figured what better way to test the live thing out than just ramble about wrestling for an hour and 6 minutes, and that's what we've done. So, look, I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody for listening. I appreciate all the comments. We want more feedback. Please give us more feedback. Feedback is how we get better for y'all. We do want to make this something for y'all. So the next one, I promise, will be more organized. We'll have a script. We'll be going, not a script, but, an itinerary, and we'll be going down it and hitting actual topics instead of bouncing around. This one, a little hard to listen to probably, but it was a crap ton of fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Andy, I had a blast. I hope you had a blast. Yeah, but I'm about to get off because I'm hungry because I stopped at McDonald's on the way home from soccer practice, ordered a bunch of food, and they forgot to put mine in the bag. So I'm going to go eat a Hot Pocket because that's my sad existence.
Unreal. All right, man. Well, all right. Well, let's wrap this up. So you got anything else?
No, man. I'm good. Go support Tim and them up north.
The Mississippi Wrestling Network.
Yep. Support them. If you haven't hit the like and follow for us, hit the like and follow for us. Andy, we're going to clean up our YouTube link and we'll get it resent back out for those of you who are interested in it. And we get it resent back out. Maybe we'll clip a couple technique videos or something and put them in there like a playlist that y'all can kind of look at. Things that piqued my interest and his interest. We'll see. That's something me and Andy will talk about in the next couple of days. If you guys want us to do an episode on something, then tell us. Like if you want an episode just centered on every single weight class, give a top 4 from every weight class. Maybe not a top 4, but if you just want us to go weight class to weight class, let us know. We want to do this for y'all. So give us the comments, give us the feedbacks, and we'll get this going. But I appreciate everybody, man. This is great. 2 years ago when I started doing this, I never thought that we'd be here. And here we are. So, Andy, thank you for helping me make this happen because, again, not a tech dude, so I'd have never figured this out. So I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. And we'll figure this out. Just to echo everything you said, we're just trying to make everything better. So please give us suggestions, and we're going to continue to push this for you guys. So,
yeah.
I don't have anything else.
Andy's going to eat his words on Tupelo. Clay Crane, we're watching you and your buddy Porter.
Hey, put that work in, boys.
Put it in.
I love being wrong. I love it.
Put it in. Sounds like there's some Saltillo boys that maybe got a little fire under their ass now. So let's see what happens.
All right, cool.
All right. Hey, until next time, thanks everybody.
Let's wrestle, Mississippi.
Let's wrestle.